Hello, everybody. Welcome to the live chat. And I've got the awesome, wonderful, intelligent, well-spoken, lovely Jen from
Hi,
Literary Love 123. And yeah, I love your channel, Jen.
thank
You
you.
always you talk about books in such a kind of a intelligent way. And I know that has a lot to do with your education. But I just love your content, especially your Stephen King stuff. I really enjoy
Thank
that.
you.
But tell us a little bit about yourself and tell us about your reading background, your booktube background, what got you into horror, all that kind of thing.
All right. Well, I am Jen, and I'm excited to be here talking to Cliff and everybody today. So, if I think back to childhood and kind of what got me started in horror, I live in Alabama, which probably you could guess as soon as I started talking that I was somewhere down in the South. But there was a ghost collection called 13 Alabama Ghosts and Jeffrey by Catherine Tucker Wyndham. And I read that in elementary school. I would check it out from the library all the time. And there would be stories, about local ghosts to the area in which I lived. And it would simultaneously freak me out and scare me, but also make me really excited. So I think that was a good start there. Like, ooh, I'm scared. I like that feeling.
Yeah,
And then I think I was like 10 years old when I watched Nightmare on Elm Street. So I loved being scared then. And
great.
then probably when I
Yeah.
was about 14, that's when I started reading Stephen King because my best friend's mother had a huge library full of Stephen King books. And she let me borrow some after I watched the movie Pet Cemetery at like a party that we had or whatever. And so my best friend was like, "Oh, if you like this, my mom has all of his books, at the time, right? In like 1989." And so I started reading Stephen King then. And after that, the rest was history, I guess, as they say.
Yeah, that's awesome. And when did you start booktube and why did you start the channel?
I started my booktube channel in 2023. No, what's this year? 2024. Yeah, the beginning of this year. I had been watching it since I think like the latter part of 2021 and early 2022. And I really enjoyed watching everybody talk about books. And I didn't really think I could do that. I had a lot of other stuff going on at the time. And I also thought nobody's going to listen, nobody's going to care what I say. But eventually I just said, you know what? I don't have a whole lot of people in real life that I can talk to about horror because it's not always accepted in academia, but we'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute too.
Oh,
But I
yeah.
was like, I want to just talk about the books that I like. If nobody listens, fine. At least, I get to talk about it to the camera. So I just took the dive and decided to join the fun. And I'm glad I did because I found a really great community. My channel is still very small. I don't have a lot of subscribers, but the ones that I do have are faithful. They comment on all my videos and they encourage me. So it's really nice to have that community online for sure.
Yeah. And we all love having you on booktube. Simple as that.
Thank you.
Um, and to be honest with you, yeah, you're doing this because you love reading books and talking about books. And yeah, I mean, my channel's grown a little bit, but in the bigger scheme of things, my channel's still tiny. It really is. It's small. It's tiny, and it's just about doing what you love
Mhm.
and having fun. And if you keep doing that and you keep putting out what you love to do, your channel will grow. Yeah, naturally, it's going to grow. But I like the idea of just looking after the people that care about you
Yes,
and that watch you, and you're looking out for them and they're looking out for you. And I think that's good. That's kind of special.
it
But
is.
yeah, yeah. Should we say hello to some people?
Yes.
Yeah, let's say hello. Okay, so we got self-esteem. Whoa, two of my
Okay.
favorite YouTubers. How are you, Nikhil? Good to see you, man. I think it was last week. Yeah. Okay. And then Alicia, yo.
I don't know if I got it in me, but I'll give it a try for you, Alicia. Yo.
That's it. I'm glad someone did it with me. I love Jen's channel. Yeah,
Thank you, Alicia.
And we got Vanessa. Hi, Cliff and Jen. Hi, Vanessa. And then we got my wife.
Hello, Anita.
Okay, then. Hello, everyone. How's it, Heidi? Heidi. And we've got John. Hey, John.
Hey.
Cliff and Jen from Disquiet and Dragons. You gotta admit that's one of the coolest channel names you've ever seen.
I love that name.
Disquiet and Dragons.
Yes.
And he did his last video, and I'm gonna have him on soon, John. I know I haven't contacted you. I'm sorry. I'll contact you soon. But he did his last video in a cemetery. No, it wasn't a cemetery. It was a abbot. Did you see that?
No, I haven't, but I'm adding that to the queue.
Yeah. There's always a queue. Hey?
Yes. And I've gotten a little behind lately, so I'm trying to get caught up on watching everybody's videos.
Yeah, there's so many. And I think it's a problem sometimes when you subscribe to so many channels. Sometimes you just don't have time to watch everything, eh?
Yes.
Yeah, it's tough. Let's talk about our favorite author.
All right.
Right? We both love Stephen King. And before we get into some very important matters that I'm gonna put it over to you. I want to just talk about first what makes Stephen King special to you as a writer. Not just what do you enjoy about his writing, but how is he separate? How do you separate him from other authors out there? What makes him special and different?
To me, it feels like, and I know I've said this before, and it probably seems cliche, but whenever I sit down to read Stephen King, it is like sitting down with an old friend. It is comforting. It doesn't matter how disturbing or horrific the content may be. There is something very comforting to me about sitting down, to read from Stephen King. And I feel like I can be immersed in his work in a way that even with my other favorite authors, I just don't get that. His characters feel so real, so tangible, just so relatable.
Yeah.
And he just has a way of putting forth a story like, I don't know, like nobody else can, in my opinion.
Yeah. He creates characters and worlds that resonate with people, and stories that he's just a master storyteller.
Yes.
It just puts him apart. I mean, as close as I think I've come with Stephen King is probably Robert McCammon, who I would strongly recommend. And I know I've gone on and on about Swan Song on this channel, but Boy's Life, if you want something that, and also coming of age. I love coming of age. I've chatted about that. Boy's Life is just
I've read Boy's Life.
What do you think?
I loved it. That's the only McCammon book I've read so far, but I do want to read more. But I did love Boy's Life for sure.
Yeah. And have you got any Stephen King? Actually, no, I'm going to start because I know that you're going to talk about Stephen King, and I'm going to listen. I'm going to enjoy this. So let's first talk about what I recommend to you, because I know you enjoy strong female characters, right?
Yes.
And I do as well. And okay, even though this book wasn't perfect for me, I think you'll enjoy this book, and that is Firestarter. And I've got a lovely hardcover edition here. It's definitely not a first edition, but it's still a beautiful book. And yeah, I think you will really enjoy that. What do you think?
I definitely want to read that one. I saw the movie with Drew Barrymore when I was a kid, and Firestarter's on my shelf. And it's one I haven't gotten to yet, but I want to, because we'll talk a little bit more, in a few minutes about my thesis and the characters I chose. But Charlie from Firestarter would fit beautifully within that context.
That's what I think. That's what I thought. Yeah, she's a
Mhm.
strong female character, and she
Yeah.
has to be really tough in this book as well. I mean, she's got everything going against her, and yeah, I enjoyed the book, but maybe I need to give it a reread. But yeah, another recommendation I had for you, and I spoke about this in my last video, but some of the characters are very hateful, unlikable. And actually, that was quite a ranting video. It wasn't a very pleasant video. Some people liked it, but that's okay.
I loved your video about
I
the
did
villain.
my last video where I
I
talked
loved
about
it.
despicable criminals, people in Stephen King's books who are just horrible, hateful, that I want
Yeah,
to wring their neck. Okay, I'm glad you enjoyed that.
I did.
That is a Green Mile. I remember I spoke about Percy from the Green Mile.
Yes.
Oh, what an absolutely horrible person. You agree?
Yeah. I haven't read The Green Mile yet, so that is one that I know people are going to be like, what is she talking about? She hadn't read this from King. No, I haven't read everything yet, right? So I'm being open about that. Yeah, I'm a constant reader and I focus a lot on Stephen King, but I still have a lot to catch up on. So y'all can come at me if you want to. I got thick skin.
No, they're not going to come at you in the comments. Come on. Okay, I wanted to ask you, have you got recommendations for me from King?
Yes, but you've probably read all of them, pretty much.
I've read so far over 60 of his books.
You're doing pretty
And
well.
so I've probably got about 15 left to read everything he's written. So I might have to double up some months to try and get to 70 quickly so that I can start getting out those books.
I know
But
I'm kind of scared too. Like I kind of like in a way having some of his stuff that I haven't read yet because I mean, he's older now.
yeah.
And it kind of makes me think about the future in ways I don't
No,
want to
don't
think about it.
don't think like that. No, don't think
But I'm like, but I gotta save some stuff, right?
yeah,
But I
yeah.
know a lot of people have probably read Cujo, but if you
Yeah,
haven't,
yeah.
I got my ring lights making a
That
glare.
is beautiful. I love that edition. That's beautiful.
Yes, this is the first edition that I got when I was in Bangor for a once in a
Wow.
lifetime bucket list trip.
Oh,
But I do recommend Cujo because it's not just about a dog. It's so much a character study and a look into families and marriage and childhood and grief. And I just, there's a lot in Cujo. So I recommend that to people. I know a lot of people have probably read different seasons, but I'm a little bit different from most people in that my favorite story in different seasons is actually the breathing method.
ooh.
I I
Okay.
just love that story so much.
Yeah.
So if you've kind of glossed over the breathing method in favor of the others that are in this book that have been adapted into movies and are more well known, give the breathing method a revisit. And you can either thank me or, fuss at me afterwards.
I actually love, and I think it's the right one. At Pupil, is that in there?
Yes, the app
Yeah,
people.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that's another character I could have actually added to my list.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm one of them. That was a creepy story, eh? That was a dark
Yes,
story.
that one goes to definitely dark places with the old man and the young
And the
boy.
student boy. Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, before you go into what I'm looking forward to listening to as well, say hello to some more people. Okay. Hey, William.
Hey.
William. Okay, Heidi. My favorite king is Dumaki. Yeah, it's a slow burn. I don't know if it's a popular or unpopular decision, but that's kind of middle, low tier King for me. I did enjoy it because there's very little of King that I have not enjoyed, but I found the ending a little bit of a letdown. I don't know about you, but I think it's still it's a beautiful story. I just think it didn't seem right at the end or the reveal. We're not going to talk about what the reveal is. of what this evil was or whatever. But for me, it just, yeah, it was a little bit, I don't know. Have you read Doomickey?
I have not read that one yet, but I have it on my shelf too. And there are some connections to Doomickey in the stories, and You Like It Darker, like in I think
Yeah.
a couple of the stories. So I really want to go back and read that one.
And my wife absolutely loves that one as well. Okay, there. The Green Mile. Fantastic, yeah. My favorite female Stephen King character is Dolores Claiborne. Have you read it, Jen?
Yes, I have. And Dolores is one of the characters that I wrote about in my thesis, and she is absolutely one of my favorites too. She's just incredible.
And we're going to get to the thesis just now. Let's get through these comments. Percy is such a horrid, hateful turd. Ugh. Yeah, I agree. That's why he was number one on my list, John. That's why he was number one on my list. He is terrible.
I love it. Hateful turd.
No, wait till you see what I say about him. George, you'll see what I said about him. In fact, what I said about a lot of those characters, there was a lot of beeping going on from my wife. Beep, beep.
Censored.
Yeah. Okay. Cujo is brilliant too. Yeah. Yeah. I've actually got another. Wait, hang on. Oh, there we are. I've actually got another thing to say about Cujo, which is quite interesting. Because I watched a video, live, between John and Nikhil, two channels that are watching now, and they discussed Cujo, and it's a very good video. I just added there that one thing I think about Cujo is that everything in the book seems kind of random, and it's like life is not fair. You have to deal with it. Cujo is a good boy. He's a good boy, and he gets bitten, and then he's not such a good boy. And the things that happen to the other characters, it's kind of random. That bad things just happen. And what I said to these guys, it's sort of like shit happens. You just have to deal with it. Life happens. And remembering the state of Stephen King's mind at that time, I just thought that was an interesting little thing to put in there. Because it is a very good character study, but it's a very kind of bleak novel. And the things that happen kind of happen out of it,
It is. And I would have thought, like, when I'm trying to talk to people about Cujo and tell them about the book, I'm like, and Stephen King writes from Cujo's perspective. And on the surface, people may kind of like roll their eyes at that or think that's going to be cheesy or that's going to be silly. But the way he can write from the perspective of Cujo ripped my heart out. Like, I cried so much in that book for different reasons without giving any spoilers, especially if people have seen the movie but haven't read the book yet. There's some differences, some pretty significant differences, but I cried so much in that book. And then when I read Rattlesnakes in the newest collection, which has a connection to Cujo, I was like ugly crying on that one too. So
yeah, no, I think there's so many nuances to that story. Okay, we've got Cat. Hey, Cat. Hey, Cat. I lost track of time. Hello, Cat. Hello, all my friends. And then Blue-Eyed Matt. Hey, Matt. Hello, Cliff and guest. Hope you guys get to see me. Happy to be here. It's always awesome to have you here, Matt. Then we got. Hope you're all well. Yeah. And Layla's walking again, which I'm so relieved. We're both so relieved about it. Oh, I tell you, in my last video, I mentioned that she was hobbling a couple of hours before I did the video. And we were worried, we thought she was not badly, you know what I mean? It wasn't like it, and then, we touched her everywhere to see if she was wincing or anything, and she wasn't. And we don't have 24-hour, not in our part of the world, so we have to wait for the vet the next day anyway. But the next day she was walking fine. So it must have been something under her paws that caused discomfort. But yeah, it's all right.
I'm so glad she's better.
Yeah, no, she's much better. Good day, everyone. Hope everyone's having a great day. Hey, Bad. Hey, my friend. And I haven't forgotten about you being on my show again, Bad. Just got to contact you. Sorry, it's been busy. Okay. And then From a Bake 8 is on my wish list. Yeah, I own that. I haven't got it yet. It's got mixed reviews. But hey, better read it and find out for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. How's your puppy, Cliff? Yeah, a lot better. Thanks for asking. I don't know how much she's a puppy now. I think she's about 5 years old now. So a little bit older, but she's getting a bit of grey hairs like we are.
Happens to us all, doesn't it?
Yeah. Well, it's just my beer that's great. I'm lucky. Yeah. Just finished Misery last night and absolutely loved it. Very good.
Yes.
Yeah. You'll both know I love Stephen King.
Yes, Cat, my kindred spirit.
Hey, Jen. It's great to see you here, and thank you for being so supportive and encouraging in our book community. I have a question. Do you DNF your book, and when do you decide to?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Depending on the reason why I'm struggling with it, I may give it about 25%. Sometimes, not usually, maybe halfway through. But sometimes if I just pick up the first chapter or two and it's not sticking with me, I'll put it aside for a little while and then I'll pick it back up later. And if it still isn't working, I'll DNF it. I used to struggle with that because I felt still pressure, I guess, from school, and you have to finish what you started, or this book's a classic, and if you don't read it, you're lacking. But I got over that, and so absolutely, there are too many books I want to read that I haven't gotten to yet. So DNF.
Yeah, I agree with you. I never used to DNF much, but I think especially when you want to read more and more books, if something is, especially a long book, and it's slowing you down and it's excruciating. And I found that the first time I tried to read Under the Dome, but I am going to give it another go. But a long book, and if you're not enjoying it, you're wasting a lot of time where you could be reading books that you love.
And then you'll get into a reading slump too. I feel like if you keep trying to push through, and then you'll have trouble picking anything up, and we don't want that.
And then you go on your channel and say, "Hello, everyone! I've read 2 books this month."
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so let's carry on. Wait, we're not keeping up with the comments. Great minds,
yes.
Yeah. I love Rosemary. I reread it every year because I love it so much. Have you read it, Jane? Vanessa, I'm going to answer that question. She's going to talk about it at length now. Something exciting is going to happen now.
Now?
Just now. Give yourself some time to prepare. Cujo, 5-star read for me. Yeah. It wasn't for me, but it needs a reread. One day. If you only had to take 3 books with you on an island and nothing else, what would they be? I love this Bad. Awesome questions. Make it tough. Make it hard. And you know that and you must get her back when she's on the show, eh?
I will. Oh my gosh. Well, my favorite book of all time is The Fisherman by John Langan. So
I want to read that so badly.
It's so good. And it just toppled my longtime held favorite book, which had been, I kind of keep Stephen King separate. So I don't know if that's fair or not, but he's his own category. But for a long time, my favorite book had been The Exorcist by William Peter Blatty. And I'm not religious or anything, but there was so much in that book, a character study and all of that. But once I read The Fisherman in 2022 or 2023, it took that away. And this is my favorite. So I would have to take The Fisherman.
Yeah, and I've only heard. Yeah, third book.
Let's see. I guess I would take the Exorcist, The Fisherman, and then I'm trying to pick my Stephen King book I would have.
I was going to say, no Stephen King. What?
Probably It. I would probably
Probably it.
take It.
Yeah.
That is my favorite. Spoiler. My favorite King is It.
Yeah. Those are awesome answers. And The Fisherman is very high priority on my TBR.
It's so
So when I get a hold of that, I'm going to definitely read that. Okay. But yeah, happy Sunday. Looking forward to the convo tomorrow. Today. Other cultural cobwebs. It's new. I haven't seen you here. Awesome. Okay, we've got, I know you enjoy a good cocktail, Jen. What is your favorite go-to drink?
My favorite is wine. I like Cabernet Sauvignon, which I probably don't say that exactly right. I'm gonna blame that on the Southern accent. Mixed drink. I'm pretty simple with that. I just like to get, most of the time it's sparkling ice because that's water. So what I was drinking in my video recently, it was just sparkling ice, coconut pineapple flavor with some rum in it. And then I did a little bit of oat milk at the top to kind of froth it up. So it was kind of like an at-home pina colada. So just kind of whatever's lying around. But my go-to drink typically is red wine.
My wife will concur. Okay. So are we past the booze question?
Books and booze.
Yeah. I love that King wrote from Cujo's point of view. It made me so much more emotionally invested. And I appreciate the movie so much more. I would recommend the documentary of the making of the movie. Yeah, I'll check that out. I actually really want to reread that book because I've heard so many but I've still got to read another 15 King books to finish. So I want to keep reading. I want to keep reading without rereading. But I say that, but I want to reread The Dark Tower as well.
That's on my list for 2025 because I haven't read The Dark Tower yet. So that's a big project I plan to do. I know Kat's doing that in 2025. So I'm hoping Kat and I can get together and encourage each other.
I think at the end of the month, I might be having something on my channel with a reread of The Dark Tower.
Ooh.
And I've got a co-host. Okay, so let's go. Hi, everyone. How's Leslie?
Hey.
And you can make it. Okay, there we go. I'm going to love being on your show, Cliff, and I know it's going to be a crazy one too.
That was going to be chaotic and fun.
It's going to be crazy. Yeah. Maybe I should dress up. No, I'm not going to dress up as well. I'll leave that for Kat.
Oh, please do. Please.
No, that's it. No, that's the thing. That's the thing.
No, you have to.
I had to DNF Under the Dome too. I really want to try it again. Yeah. I want to try it because I want to complete everything is written, and DNFs don't count. I have to finish everything is written. I need to. Where's my friend? I need to. Oh no, I'm laughing over here. I suck at answering questions. Things I'll say never make any sense. But my friend, you just have to pitch up and do what you say you're going to do and show your. Ooh, she's got a new arts and craft hobby, people. She's creating horror characters from doll. You just wait till when she appears on the channel.
And see, you need to dress as a horror character then too.
Maybe just a little bit.
I'll get Anita in on it.
I'll come as myself. I'll come as myself. Okay, that's horrifying enough already. I haven't finished a single book this month. That's why I steer clear of monthly wrap-ups on my channel. Yeah, it's tough sometimes, eh?
It is. I totally get that. And I want to do like a mid-month check-in because I feel like that would help me because sometimes I get to the end of the month and even books that I really loved and gave 5 stars to, I'm like, no, what was this book about? Because my memory is like escaped my head lately. I don't know what's going
That's
on.
why sometimes I jot down and I
Mhm.
make a short review on Goodreads, and
Mhm.
then it's here, and then I do like more like a 3 a month, but it's completely random. I don't have like a set goal. Oh, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. I
Yeah.
try and do at least 3 times a month, like a reading update and then a wrap up. But sometimes it doesn't work like that. You know? Okay, what is this? I'm going to need to happy with you. Or drinking coffee. How are you? Doing great. Thanks, Bad. Enjoy that coffee. I'm not going to say anything. I'm just a Bud Light girl in a bottle. I do love seeing those wonderful pictures of drinks. They look delicious. Okay, and it says red wine, great choice.
Yes. Cheers. Which
Well,
I just have water today, but cheers.
I'm having water, but right. Okay, red wine, great choice. This not be one of those videos. Come on. Cliff and Jen, you'll need to join me for the Dark Tower series 2025.
I am in 100%. I'm there.
Only problem, Kat, is that I'm rereading it this year, so it might be difficult to read. But hey, it's so brilliant. I might do a reread for a third time. Yeah. Get to know. I would love to watch the documentary. Future Excellence. So sad. Okay. Yeah, Matt. Fly remake or the thing?
The Thing.
The thing. Yeah.
The
Sorry,
Thing.
we're not even debating that.
Yes, that's on my list. Like I guess like left over from my school years when you sent me the outline, I had to like write down all the answers to make sure I'm prepared. And when you had movies on there, The Thing is on my list for favorites. So all good
Yeah.
with The Thing.
Yeah. There is no other book most like The Stand than Under the Dome. Even the same unique characters, just different names. Okay, well, my favorite Stephen King book is The Stand. And I only got about, and it might not have been a DNF, but more like this is too long. I'm not in that place right now in my life. I'm going to put it on the shelf and pick it up again. So what you just said has made me very intrigued because I absolutely love the character work in The Stand. It was just phenomenal. It's one of my favorite novels. In fact, after Swan Song, it is my favorite novel. And they're both similar as well. Okay. Yeah, I make dolls that make my parents so happy with their daughter. They're so very proud of me. Oh gosh, I feel bad for my parents. Oh, Adam's family, probation. Yeah, she did a video recently about a book review on a book called The Big Head by Ed something Lee. I don't know, but it's basically an extreme novel, and it takes extreme novels and takes them to the extreme. This is known as one of the most disturbing, disgusting, sick, vile. Never mind trigger warnings. No trigger warnings at all. No, just don't. If you want to push every single boundary within yourself, read this book
So
called The
what is
Big Head.
that book? Because I need to write it down.
It's called The Big Head,
All
and
right.
she made a doll of the big head, so she showed
Okay,
that off
I'm
as
gonna
well.
have to check all of that out.
Yeah. Anita, the documentary on YouTube. It's called Dog's Days: The Making of Cujo. Okay, I'm gonna watch that. I hope my wife, if you're watching and you got a pen, you write down Dog's Days. She needs to be my secretary when I do this because I could only do that.
I know it's hard to keep up with everything on the lives.
Yeah. Cats, thank you. I'm gonna watch it tonight already. Yeah.
There's your plan for the evening.
Yeah. Today I'm a clown. That will be up today. Oh, I studied how to act like a clown all week. I did my homework. That's tonight. I'm going to watch that.
Yes.
People choose that. Bad, you are so creative. You are so
Yes, she
incredibly
is.
creative. You have to check out her channel, people. Her channel is just, and the introductions and the outros at the end of the videos. Ooh,
It's
blow
so
your
much
mind.
fun, and she has so much fun, and you can just tell.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. Okay. Hey, Cliff, great Cliff. Then you can make a video comparing the standard, what they have in common. Yeah, I'll do that. I'll do that. I should actually be making a video of the Stan versus Swan Song, but I've spoken about those books so many times on my channel. I just feel like it would be repeating myself. Okay. I'm halting my King reading marathon to detour into reading 10 Days of Fish. Go for it. I enjoyed that book.
That's a good
I think
one.
it's about 4 stars for me. And people call it so incredibly disturbing. I didn't really find it was disturbing. The subject matter was disturbing, but it was a clinical, detached way in which the author focused on the subject matter that makes it almost disturbing in a different way, because you kind of detach from this and you kind of sickened by what's happening in this world, this utopian. I'm not going to give away spoilers.
Right.
But I mean, yeah. Do you agree with me?
Like you said, it was written so matter of fact and so methodical.
Yeah.
Like, this is just what we do, and it's not a big deal. And that is disturbing, like kind of on a different sort of level.
So it's disturbing on a different level, but it didn't hit me like, let's say, reading Off Season by Jack Ketchum, or or the end of the book. What's it? That Psycho. No, I forgot now. Oh, never mind. It's like American Psycho.
Yeah.
And the end of American Psycho was disturbing to the point where my wife was scared of me, because I was like, it was terrible. Yeah. Okay. And it's exactly what you said.
Yeah.
Absolutely. My channel would be nothing without my wife. What other hobbies do you enjoy other than reading? What's your favorite coffee cup that brings joy to your heart?
My hobbies.
That is keeping you away from your thesis, Jen.
That's hey, I spent enough time on that. That's perfectly all right. My other hobbies, besides reading, that's a good question. I do like to watch movies. I don't know that that's necessarily like a hobby, like making something. I like to bake. Probably that's probably about all of it. Baking, reading, watching movies. I do like to go outside. I like exploring the woods, but not right now because it's extremely hot down here in South Alabama in the summer. But I do, like to spend some time outdoors. My favorite coffee cup, I have one, and I don't have them in here now, but one of my favorites is like it's like a Ouija board coffee cup. It looks just like the board. It's got all this stuff on it. And then I have one that's a sleepaway camp mug, because I do. You probably see Jason back there, like Friday the 13th. And my other favorite one is purple with like some moons and suns and little hand that says Hex the Patriarchy. So that's another one of my favorites.
Yeah. Okay. Trying to find where we are. It has to be completely over the top for something to disturb me. Big Head is completely and utterly insane, from what I've heard from Bad. But you can ask her about that. I've done several book comparing videos. Okay. Just losing count of the comments here. Watching movies can be a hobby. Yes, it can. Playing video games, watching movies. William, I'll check them out. These are wonderful hobbies, Jen. some kind of situation I've never experienced, either through reading or watching. That's what it takes to be disturbing to me. Yeah, I don't know, Max, if you've actually read well-written extreme horror novels that really push the boundaries. Um, the most disturbing book I've ever read was Off Season by Jack Ketchum. These cannibals. You'd think it'd be kind of just silly, but the way that he writes about these people trapped in the woods with this inbred cannibal family coming at them, and is absolutely horrifying. And he leaves nothing to the imagination, and it's disturbing on another level for me. Okay, Jen, do you have a favorite horror trope?
Lately, it is what has been become to be known as "good for her" horror. That's my favorite, when a woman fights back against oppression and kicks ass, basically. So "good for her" is my favorite trope right now.
Yeah, like Firestarter, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and also Nosferatu. You must what? You must read that book, Joe Hill, Nosferatu.
Yes.
Oh, using track, yeah. That's so cute, Jen. Besides horror, what other genres do you enjoy reading?
I like some classics, especially Gothic classics, which could still kind of fit in that umbrella of horror. And I also like literary fiction sometimes too. Especially lately, I've enjoyed some books by Chelsea G. Summers, A Certain Hunger and An Excellent Host, which could be sort of horror adjacent, but they're much more like literary fiction.
Yeah. Well, with your classics, you're lucky that Michael's not around. Otherwise, he's going to bring up Frankenstein again.
I know, I know. Michael and I have an ongoing, debate over
Yeah. Well,
Frankenstein.
I
I
think
love it and think it's brilliant. Michael does not. So
he says it's an essay. I need to get you both on the channel at the same time.
we
Let's
could
have
do
a
a
little.
Frankenstein debate, right? That would be
Yeah.
fun. I'd probably have a lot of drinks to put up with him during that conversation. I love you, Michael. I love you.
Jen, your books and movies align as far as genres. For example, I love both horror movies and books, but I don't like reading romance, but enjoy watching rom-coms.
I do align my books and movies because I don't like romance movies or books or rom-coms. I did a vlog, like I think it was the beginning of June, a horror reader reads romance, just to see what it was like. And I didn't like anything that I read, but I plowed through for the vlog and only DNF'd one out of the 4 books for it. But if you want to see my thoughts on romance, you can look at that vlog. But just in case anybody's watching this, I have an awesome husband. His name is Tim. I love him, and everything is great there. So it's not for that reason, but I just don't like romance. I like horror.
Yeah, yeah. I've got a confession to make. I've got a confession to make.
Yes.
I mostly watch like action, horror, that kind of thing, movies. But then every now and then, well, it's not so much what I would call your typical rom-com. But one movie I really, really love is that Adam Sandler movie, 50 First Dates. I thought it was so sweet.
Okay.
So, it's just out of the blue, something like that. That's okay.
It happens
Now,
sometimes.
I like it, and it's sweet, and it's, yeah. Yeah. So, now we got, hey, Chris.
Hey, Chris.
Sorry, I need to send you an email. I'm a bit late for that. Okay. Oh, now she's going to tell us about The Big Head. The Big Head by Edward Lee is a masterpiece of the splatterpunk horror. Lots of gore, sex, and violence.
Yes.
Jack Ketchum and Edward Lee are friends in real life. I agree, Cliff, on that book, Next Door. What, The Girl Next Door?
Girl Next Door.
Girl Next Door. But the Big Head, I've heard about it. It's got a reputation amongst horror splatterpunk people as the most disturbing, most disgusting, most gross book that's ever been written. So be warned. Be warned.
That's it. That's making me more and more curious.
I'm talking myself into reading it as well. But I might go easy. I might work my way up.
Right, to baby steps.
Baby steps, yeah. So far as the reddening, I brought up every book chat, but it's so good.
Was that The Reddening by Adam Neville?
I just finished now, today, The Ritual.
Did you love it?
I really enjoyed it, but it's a 4-star for me. And the reason being, well, I'm going to give it a review on my channel.
Mm-hmm.
That I really loved the first half. It's like survival horror,
Yes.
great writing, very immersive. But then the second half, it takes like this wicked turn and goes into some places that I enjoy it,
Mm-hmm.
but not all of it fully bought, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And the characters, some of them were irritating and kind of, it's still very, very good. But also his writing drags just a little bit sometimes. And he's
like
very,
The Reddening
sometimes he's
even better.
a little bit over descriptive about the environment, but I still really enjoyed it. It's 4 stars minimum.
Yeah. I love
Yeah.
The Ritual. I like The Reddening even better than The Ritual, though.
Okay. So look, I mean, it's the first book by him, so I might find something that suits me more. But yeah. Oh, you know what I mean by the turn that it takes.
Yes, it kind of seemed to drag a little bit at that point too with the turn it took. It kind of took forever for things to sort of progress, which I feel like people, since they know I love Stephen King, they're probably looking at us about, like, what do you mean that was too long, or what do you mean?
No, it was so. It's like I can't talk about details of the plot,
Right.
but it dragged a bit.
Mm-hmm.
But it was still very, very grim and very dark and very well written. And, you were in there like, oh, what's going to happen here?
Mm-hmm.
So it was a very good book. I need to see the movie now. Okay.
The movie's good too. I like the movie.
Yeah. Okay. Jen would fight to the death over Frankenstein.
Yes, I would.
Yeah. What would you like to discuss with Jen? Your chat has taken over the conversation. Good stuff, though. That's part of the fun, Matt. That's part of the fun of this. Because we have interesting questions and we just go with it. It's like going with the flow. It's part of the fun. And she is going to, it's a good point, though, because she is going to talk about something that's very important to her now. So I want you to tell us about your master's and your thesis on Stephen King.
All right.
Let's leave the comments for a little while. Sorry, guys, we're going to leave the comments for a while. Come back to you. Good point, Matt.
So I graduated in 2023 in December with my master's in English. And whenever I was trying to decide what to write my thesis on, because you're pretty much left to pick whatever, topic speaks most to you. And I was fortunate that I had an advisor who not only supported the idea of focusing on the horror genre, but is also a horror fan himself. So I was very, fortunate in that, because a lot of times in academia, horror doesn't have the best reputation and people sort of look down on it. But he asked me, he said, first of all, he said, when you're thinking about, what you want to write about, think about why you enjoy the horror genre so much, and then why so many of your papers you've written in grad school have been focused on feminist theory. He said, so think about what it is about feminist literary theory plus the horror genre that really speaks to you. So I started thinking about the ways in which women are represented in horror. And initially I wanted to focus on women writers in horror, because I felt like if I'm a woman and I want to write about women in horror, I should focus on women writers. But I wasn't finding anything that clicked with me. And there's also something you have to do when you're writing like a thesis. You have to do what's called fill in the gap in the research. So you're trying to say something new that hasn't exactly been said before. So you got to kind of find an angle. And so I started thinking about how much criticism Stephen King has faced for women characters that he's written. So I thought, well, I'm going to come from the opposite side of things and talk about strong female characters that he's written. And I had a mentor also who was someone different from my advisor, and he had written his thesis on the horror genre. So he was kind of looking at the female characters I had listed out. And I had Beverly from It, Carrie from Carrie, and Jesse from Gerald's Game. And he said, what if you also add Dolores Claiborne in there and really focus in on a multi-generational perspective, going from Beverly, because my focus in my paper was mostly on Beverly as a preteen, not so much in her adult years. So he said, focus on Beverly as a preteen, Carrie as a teen, Jessie from Gerald's Game as a young woman, and then Dolores from an older woman's perspective. And of course, we tossed around Charlie from Firestarter, but I hadn't read that book yet. And we tossed around Rose Madder, which I had read that book. But the other issue is you can only you kind of got to hone in your focus a little bit, or it can be too broad. So I stuck with Beverly, Carrie, Jesse, and Dolores. And sometimes I get a little tongue-tied trying to, talk about my thesis. So I'll just kind of give you the thesis statement that kind of sums everything up. And my thesis statement is, despite the criticisms American master of horror Stephen King faces for his portrayal of female characters, his creations like Beverly Marsh, Carrie White, Jessie Burlingame, and Dolores Claiborne stand as multi-generational examples of defiant and resilient women who navigate and dismantle oppressive patriarchal systems, thereby underlining the enduring strength of women amidst adversity. Because I really too wanted to talk about how each of them are in situations that are seemingly impossible. And it doesn't seem like they would be able to break free from those, but they manage to do so in their own different ways. And of course, you have the connection specifically with the eclipse between Jesse and Dolores, where they see each other during that eclipse. So I talked about that. And the title of my thesis was actually Eclipsing the Patriarchy, the Power of Multi-Generational Female Connection. In it, Carrie, Jesse, or I should have called it Jesse's Game, Gerald's Game, and Dolores Claiborne. But one of the things I noticed when I was doing my research too is that in the book Gerald's Game, Jesse has a vision of a young girl who is 17 and she's being accused of being a witch, but she's described as having acne skin and being heavier set. And in the book Carrie, that's how Carrie is described. Sissy Spacek, I love the movie Carrie, doesn't
not like,
really fit.
Oh, not like the movie. I can't remember when I read it. I don't remember that. So she was described as heavy set and
heavier set and having acne. And in the book, Jesse sees the girl. Yeah. And I was like, wait a minute, nobody has looked at this before. And I looked everywhere to see if anybody had thought about that being Carrie, and I couldn't find it anywhere. So I wrote about that too, because something else Jessie does is she says that this young girl hadn't been able to fully escape her oppressors, and she ended up dying. And Jessie was like, I don't want to end up like that. And I was like, that has to be Carrie, because Stephen King loves to, make those connections. So I wrote about that too. And I do still see Carrie as what I call good for her horror, even though she does die in the end. she's able to bring down all of her oppressors along the way. I also wrote, something like, I may get canceled here, but if you're going to write about Beverly and and you're going to write about her being an empowered young woman, you got to tackle the scene, right? Everybody's like, what about that scene? What about that scene?
Exactly.
So I talked to my advisor. What is it?
Can I interrupt for 2 seconds?
Please, yeah.
About that scene? Because that was the first Stephen King book that I ever actually read. At the age of 14, I read it. And for the life of me, I cannot remember that scene. And my wife read the book at the age of about 15, and she cannot remember that scene. And I found that very interesting. And yet, obviously, now, if I reread it, it would be like right there, like the scene. And I'd obviously find it inappropriate or whatever. But it's just interesting that as a child, when I read it, or maybe I saw just something completely different because I was so lost in the novel. And also, in all fairness, Stephen King said he was high at the time and kind of regrets writing it, right?
But, the thing of it is, I actually argue, not that I would not write that myself personally. Don't come at me. And I see the issue people have with it. But when I went into it looking at Beverly specifically, I have a section in my thesis. I tackled it, and then I did a presentation and I tackled it in a room full of people, which was interesting. But Beverly, of course, has been indoctrinated by her father, Al, to fear.
She's a strong person. She's a strong person. People don't get that.
Exactly.
She's a pretty strong person. She has to deal with her father. She has to deal with all these things in her life, plus the monster, plus the bullies. Yeah, sorry, carry on.
No, yeah, he's made her so afraid of men and so afraid of anything to do with womanhood, which is why Pennywise plays on her fear, of blood in the bathroom, because she knows that once she becomes, of that age, that she's in more danger from her father, because there's the obvious, sexual abuse overtones that are taking place. So she fears everything connected to becoming a woman and everything about men. But when Pennywise, fills the bathroom full of blood, if you recall, Beverly calls her father in there, or she screams and he comes in there. He can't see any of it. He can't see the blood at all. And he ends up, beating her and accusing her of being crazy. But she's brave enough to go tell all the rest of the Losers Club, all boys, about the blood in the bathroom. And they believe her. And they go with her. They see the blood. They help her clean it up. So she's kind of making that transition there between, what it means to be a woman and what she thinks of men. So that when they get to that scene in the sewer, it's her idea.
Let's not give spoilers.
Right. But there's something that's her idea. And she finds empowerment then in making a connection to the boys and seeing who she is as a woman outside of the way her father sees it. So she breaks away from him in that way. So I see that still as a moment of empowerment and healing for Beverly, stepping away from her father's view of everything.
Yeah. And I just think it's absolutely crazy. If you go onto Goodreads and you see 1-star reviews of it, that people will not shut up about that one scene.
Right. And they probably haven't even read the book.
They probably haven't even read the book. And to be honest, I can't stand, I read 1-star reviews because it sometimes amuses me, especially if I read 1-star reviews of my favorite books.
Mm-hmm.
Like kind of that I know are incredible, well read, and masterpieces, whatever. And you read this and you think, you haven't read the book. Maybe the author's been mean to you. Maybe you know the author. Maybe, has someone hurt you? Do you need a hug? That kind of thing. It's because some of these 1-star reviews are off the charts, insanely ridiculous. And that's why you have a video option of, reading out my favorite books one star. I think I'm going to do that one day
You
because
should.
it's really, really, really ridiculous.
Yes.
What
And like
people
you
say.
said, that so-called scene, a lot of times when, reading it, it's not something that stands out to you, like you
No,
were talking about.
when I read it at the age of 14, okay, maybe it'll stand out more now, right? But the thing is, it's 2 pages out of a 1,000-page book,
Right.
and bang, 1 star. This is
Right.
disgusting. This is
Right.
right.
And it's much more about the connection and the power that they have together. And people are like, but blah, blah, blah. I'm like, you don't know.
No, and I can see often in 1 star reviews, it might be a 300, 400-page book, and people will read 10 pages, and then they say, I threw it across the room and it bounced off the wall. And I gave it 1 star. This is a piece of crap.
Right.
And I'm going, you haven't even read the book. You said you've read, what, 20 pages? And you've thrown it across the room?
Right. And if I DNF a book, I don't rate it either. And like, even when I did my horror reader reads romance vlog, I didn't rate those romance books. I didn't enjoy them, but I didn't rate them because, they're not written for me. So I'm not really a fair person to give it any kind of rating. It just didn't work for me, but I'm not going to rate, romance because I don't think that's fair.
No, it's not. I don't rate 1 stars. If it's a 1 star, it's a DNF. Simple as that. I have given 2 stars, and I will rate that, and I'll say, I did not enjoy this book, but it's not without flaws. There's something there for somebody. That's a 2 star for me. I didn't like it, and I'll say it on my channel. I found it terrible. Actually, no, there are a couple of books that are DNF'd or that are finished. I have said on my channel, I'm guilty. But yeah, there was one called The Alligator. I think I've said it a couple of times. Probably the worst book I've ever read. Alligator. And the cover's got this alligator with these claws, with its mouth, and the blood is dripping out of the mouth. It's like an animal attack book. And in the first 3 pages, you see the alligator, and there's an attack on the boat. And then maybe at the end of the book, you might see it a little bit, sort of. And that's it, the whole book. Can we quickly just catch up with some of these things here? Because have you got anything more to say about your thesis?
No, I probably lost a lot of people with my Beverly comments. So
no. And if you want to sum up again, it's fine. But let's just finish this quickly, because I want to ask you about your trip. Okay, let's go to Jen. Have you seen the TV show Penny Dreadful? I think it had the best Frankenstein iteration I've come across.
Not yet, but I've heard good things about it. I think it's on Netflix.
Okay. The debate would end with Michael having to get reanimated. Hey, man, it's all right. Okay. How do you love the show, Penny Dreadful? Cliff, since you read The Ritual, see about watching the movie. I thought it was great. Okay, I'll watch it.
And the ending's a little bit different too.
Okay, so I'll watch that, yeah. I kind of feel the same way about reading. Great book, but ending with that. No, I'm definitely going to read more of him. I enjoyed this book. Don't get me wrong, I enjoyed it. But it did drag a little bit in places for me, unfortunately. Yeah. I purchased another Edward Lee book that has much more horrific details. And it's part of a series. I've got House Infernal on my Kindle. Is that the Edward Lee that wrote Big Head? Okay, I'm going to read that next month. Let's check all my trigger warnings.
Ooh, nuns and lots of horror. Love it.
Yeah. Most extreme scene I read in the page was the eyeball scene in the 5 Fingers. I don't read extreme. The eyeball scene. Okay, 5 Fingers. Check out your review.
Eyes freak me out.
What, popping?
Yeah, or like something like going into the eye that,
And imagine you can't get it out, and it's like itchy, and
yeah,
the itchiness gets worse, and you start scratching,
and just, yeah,
and
eyes is something, I'll make myself read it if it's something about eyes, or like if I'm watching a movie and something's fixing to happen to somebody's eyes, like I'm tempted to look away, but I'm like, no, you have to endure it. You have to toughen up.
but I had a short story horror there. Keep scratching, and something lands in the other eye, and
Ooh.
blood starts flowing. Okay, there's nothing to that at all. This is exactly why I'll never understand how horror is approached when it comes to awards, artistic recognition. Seems to have continued. Its own award show, which draws the same audience that enjoys horror. So the genre doesn't fully get the respect it deserves. Do you want to answer that, Jen?
Yeah, there's a Fangoria Chainsaw Awards. They do their own
Yeah,
award
I've
show,
heard of
and it's like,
Victoria.
I voted in it because it's like fan based. So yeah, they won't recognize horror at the Oscars, so we have to do our own thing.
Yeah. Okay. And we got. And I picked up a lot of little Easter eggs in Stephen King books, and although very subtle, quite profound at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Called the Stephen King multiverse, my dear.
Yeah, and then it gets kind of like difficult. That's something else too, like focusing my thesis on Stephen King, and then I did a presentation at a conference, and then I'm hopefully going to be doing another one like in April next year in New Orleans. So Kat, I'll see you there. But that's
Oh,
kind of like the mixed bag of sorts, because Stephen King is one of my favorite authors, and I love him, and I love to sit down and read his work, like I said, kind of at the beginning, because he feels like an old friend, but now sometimes there's just that like scholarly brain that's like, you got to make a connection. What could you write about this? What could you write about that? So it's kind of mixed.
yeah. No, but that's awesome. You're going to New Orleans. You better take some photographs of Kat. I'd
I
actually love
will,
to. Yeah. And you
because
better both.
it's only like New Orleans is maybe like 2 hours from me, so I'm super close.
Is it a wild as places I hear about? Is it pretty wild?
It can be. It kind of depends on where you go, but it's a lot of fun. I love going.
Yeah. Always wanted to go there. Have you read Billy Summers yet? I don't think either of us have read Billy Summers yet, but yeah, I would love to get hold of it. I'm counting down. I actually need to make a list. I've got a list of, I think, 60. I've hit about 60 of all short story collections, novels, novella collections, even some non-fiction of his work that I've read. Just over 60. And I think he's done about 76 or maybe 80 now. I'm not sure. But I just want to keep going. I want to keep. I want
Quite
to finish.
prolific.
No, but I just want to finish everything. I want
I
to get
know.
going. Yeah. Okay. Anita, I've heard Stephen King novels can be connected universe-wise. I'm very excited for his stories more. Yeah. Matt, you'll love him. You'll love, I guarantee it.
Yeah.
And if you want pure horror, start at the 70s and 80s. If you, I would start then anyway. That's his prime. Would you agree, Jen?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. That's his prime. Okay. I haven't read it yet, but not sure if we have it. We don't have it. I want to get it. Yeah. And Jane, have you read the Witch's short story collection? She's a monster hunter. No. Is that connected? Is that connected to the video game? I tried to play once. It was too complicated for me. But
I can't play the new ones.
I played Skyrim and I did quite well. I got to like 76 or something. So I did play video games, but I tried to play The Witcher, and the combat system was just too complicated for me. I could not get it right.
I cannot play new ones. The last time I was good at video games was Super Mario Brothers in the 80s. I would try to play Halo with like my older kids, and I would always like fall off cliffs and stuff. So they were like, God, Mom, you can't do anything on here. I'm like,
you died again.
right.
I used to, what I love playing, I very rarely play video games anymore. I don't. But I love games like Diablo, where it's just you push a button and you got a few buttons and you just hack and slash your way through everything. All these monsters on your way, and you just you don't have to have any fancy moves on like a controller or anything. You just push towards a monster and you have little combinations of buttons you can use to kill them. That's it.
Yeah, I'm not any good at those. There was one I don't remember.
No, this is easy. It's easy.
There was something about Call of Duty, maybe zombies or something. But there was one video like everybody would try to get on this bus, and if you got left behind, like I would just have a panic attack because I'd be like, "Y'all left me," or then they get off the bus, and I was like, "But you left me," and I was like, "It's too anxiety inducing. I can't do it."
Left 4 Dead.
Yeah, I was like, I can't do this.
I haven't read The Witcher. Sorry, no. But I actually would like to read the books because I kind of enjoy the concept of the video, of the movie. How many books does Stephen King look back on with regret? I know of 2, Rage and the Tommyknockers. I would say also Dreamcatcher. I don't think he enjoyed that at all.
Yeah.
And I would probably say that's quite a bit of his earlier work, eh? And the funny thing is with Pet Sematary, he didn't want to release that. He thought it was way too dark, but he had to, because he had an agreement with the publishers, something. So he released it because of that. But I honestly think I don't think he looks back on with, I know with Rage, I know that definitely. But I just think he probably looks back on books like the Tommyknockers and Dreamcatcher and probably thinks they were terrible books because he was writing under the influence and, but yeah, I can't think of many more than that. And I don't think they're terrible. I think, what is your least favorite King book so far?
I had that, like the question because we were going to talk about favorites and least favorites, and I could not. Okay. I could not pinpoint a least favorite. Now, I guess in the newest collection, because that one's fresher on my mind, I just read it. In You Like It Darker, there's one I didn't care for very much called Finn. And that one had been released somewhere else, like just, I don't know if it was audio or a small print book. So people had read it before You Like It Darker. And that's probably my least favorite by King so far as the short story Finn.
Okay. Mine is probably a surprise, but then again, not really a surprise because mine is a girl who loved Tom Gordon. That's not a terrible story. It's about a girl who gets lost in the woods, got a baseball player in her head to keep her company. And it's quite a tight little novel. Only problem is half of it's baseball. And I don't do baseball. I do cricket.
I don't care for baseball either.
No, but I don't. Yeah, I don't know the rules. I don't know the players. I'm not. And Stephen King loves his baseball, right?
Yes.
And he's done a book that I have to read because I want to complete everything, and it's called Old Faithful or something.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole book is about his love to baseball.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe I should just read it really slowly and learn about baseball for Stephen King. Because I have to finish it. I want to finish everything. Yeah, so I'm leaving that for last.
Yes, you work through it a little bit at a time.
At a time, yeah. Okay. Tommy Knack has the best premise ever. Someone else should take that and create a new story. Yeah, it seems like every time that Stephen King is read when he was young, when he was writing, when he was very high, he'd write science fiction and aliens. I don't know. Have you read Tommy Knockers?
I haven't read that one yet.
No. Okay,
I
that
kind
might
of
be.
dread it. I will read it one day,
Avoid
but I'm
it,
like,
for a little while. It's okay. I'm not going to tell you what happens at the beginning. But yeah, you think his mind is a little bit gone then when he writes about some of the stuff. I promise you. But yeah, it's a funny thing with him and aliens and alcohol and drugs and I don't know. But you're right. They could make a different story, Heidi. And that scene and all the weird turtle shit at the end kept me from giving it from the full 5 stars.
Christine, I'll talk about the that scene with you in detail, like privately or something, so we won't give spoilers. Yeah, I mean the turtle stuff is weird, but I don't know. I just loved everything about it. It just even the turtle stuff.
Yeah. I didn't mind the turtle stuff. I thought it was, as a 14-year-old boy, I was hiding in bed with this book. I finished it in a week. I was going to school the next day. And in fact, I remember being such a book nerd that I would have, well, my science book or maths book or whatever, and put my reading book behind it so
Uh-huh.
that I pretend to be actually listening to the teacher, but I'd be like reading it. And like I say, the reason I gave it 5 stars and it's one of my favorite books is when I read it at 14. I don't remember that scene. I don't
Right.
remember it. If I reread it now, I might disagree with you. I might say that is a horrible scene. You should be ashamed, right? But everything else about Beverly Marsh is actually really strong. And that's why I don't get people. There's some reviews that actually bash her. And she's the only female out of all these males. He doesn't know how to write, And she's the strongest freaking one. It's
Yeah.
her that has to throw the rocks. Okay, now I'm going to spoiler territory.
Yeah,
Right. Yeah.
she does
Okay.
a lot. She does.
Yeah. Yeah. I hope you can get your hands on a copy of it. Love Billy Summers. I think you'd enjoy it. Yeah. I'm going to look forward to that. Yes, apparently in The Gunslinger, there are a couple of characters who appear in other novels. Yes. There is a whole multiverse out there, my dear. There's a whole Stephen King world for you to explore. Okay. Chris, I agree with you about it, 100%. Yeah, okay. No. You're not making any fans here, Jen.
That's all right.
Yeah. I need to read Tommy Knockers. Okay. I agree with your take on the Beverly situation, Jen. Yeah, you got some. Yay. She's a strong girl. I think to read it again one day. I don't remember enough detail. It would be interesting to read it as an adult now. That's what I just said, But I'm not going to reread it anytime soon because there's just so many other books to read. And as a booktuber, you want to read new books the whole time.
And that's a chunky book. That one's
Yeah.
a real chunky.
Yeah. I know. But King called it an awful book. He probably would walk out if you asked him about that book. Yeah, probably would. Which one? Which one, William? Is he talking about Rage or Tommy Knockers? Okay. What King books have you yet to read? Okay, sorry. Now they're just having conversations here. Let's just skip through this a bit. It seemed there's no idea it was in there. Honestly, just felt like it wasn't on enough drugs to enjoy the end of it. Like I wasn't on enough drugs to enjoy the end of it.
Wait now, Christine, come on.
Yeah. I'll have a couple of glasses of red wine when I read it. Okay. My baby, I think you might need something stronger. Okay. I will make a point of reading by Billy Summers. I haven't read Billy Summers. No.
I haven't read that one yet.
No. You need to send me the dates. Yeah.
I will. It's in April next year. I can't remember the exact dates, but April.
When did you go to Bangor, Maine?
I went to Bangor in April of 2023. It was my birthday trip. And the day that we did the Stephen King tour was actually on my birthday. So
Yeah.
they have the guy's name is Jamie Tinker. His father, Stu Tinker, used to do it, but they have something called SK Tours, and it takes you to Stephen King's house, which he's not there most of the time now. He spends most of his time in Florida and other
He's got a
places.
lake house.
What is
it?
it?
He's got a lake house somewhere in Maine.
He does. This where you see is in Bangor, is his main Victorian house where he used to live, with the gates, so I have a picture of, my husband and I in front of his house, and he's got a guest house beside it, which has been turned into a writer's retreat. So that would be nice. But the tour takes you to the Barrens, everything that kind of inspired his writing. The bench he was sitting on, that's right there at the Thomas Hill standpipe where he wrote that scene in It. The cemetery that inspired his writing in Pet Sematary. And it's in the movie, too, that they used, where you see Lewis going up to dig up Gage. Spoiler alert, I guess.
Yeah.
So it's really exciting to be in all the places. We went to eat at Oriental Jade, which is Jade of the Orient in It. So we went to go eat there, where the adults come back together to kind of slowly regain the memories of the past in It. So it was just amazing.
Oh, that's awesome. That is so cool. I would love to do that. I would love to be part of that, but yeah, not going to happen now.
No, it was wonderful. I know I made my husband take a picture of me sitting on the bench where Stephen King was, sitting when he wrote scenes from It, and I was like, oh, my butt's in the same spot his butt was in. And that was a couple of months before I had to pick my, thesis focus. So I like to say that, something of him got in me when I was there, and that's why I ended up writing about his work.
Oh, no. That is so awesome. Okay. I think a horror movie won the Oscar for
Parasite. Mm-hmm.
the Korean movie, I think.
Yeah.
Which was it?
Parasite.
Parasite. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I know Get Out got some Oscar recognition too. So that's another recent horror movie that did at least get some attention.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just going to go back to your Stephen King trip. I'm very envious. In fact, I'm envious of everyone living in America in terms of horror, in terms of what you have access to.
Fictional horror. There's some real life horror here that you won't be.
Yeah.
But we won't talk about that. But yeah.
We got some real life horror here as well. We're not going to go there.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, just in terms of your access to authors and your access to books and things. Okay, I'm not going to sound like a person, I'm just going to carry on reading the comments.
But it was just, we stayed on this pond. It was called Herman Pond at this Airbnb. Yeah. And at night, you could actually hear loons, which feature prominently in a lot of Stephen King books, especially if you think of Pet Sematary, the movie. You hear the loons whenever Lewis and Judd are going to, bury church. So it was really creepy and cool at the same time to hear the loons at night.
Oh, that is so cool. Okay, we're going to say goodbye to Blue Eyed Matt. I'll see everyone next week. I hope you have an excellent week. You too, Matt. Thanks for stopping in.
Thank you.
And then Oscars have gone to multiple horror movies, but so many different aspects of horror movies seem to be ignored. Yeah. Okay. I'll have to send you a list of things I'll send to read. Not too much left to read. Yeah. Oh, they're based off the Witcher books. Interesting. I didn't know that. Okay, so the books were written first. Oh. I wasn't sure about that. I thought they had the game first and everything, and then books came afterwards.
Yeah.
That makes sense, I suppose. Well, until the show jumped the shark. Okay, which books came first? Polish fairy tales with monsters, The Last Wish, and some Destiny in the collection. Yeah, I must get hold of them, man, because I like a little bit of dark fantasy and
Hmm.
that kind of thing. Right. Fairy tales, dark fairy tale. Okay, that would be great. This on your next print. Yeah. I bet there are zombies in The Witcher. I will think on it.
Cat loves her zombies.
Yeah, she loves the zombies. Yeah. Dreamcatcher is my least favorite today. I wasn't a fan of Eyes of the Dragon either. I enjoyed that one. I actually really enjoyed it. I think it's underrated, but it is written for his daughter. It is YA, so you have to go into it expecting that, I suppose. So since I've read them, I should read them at some point. But I suppose it's a fantasy aspect of Eyes of the Dragon as well. It is fantasy more than horror. Pennywise freaks me out.
I have a big poster of Pennywise. Like y'all can't see it, but it's right over here. So
Should put it.
I look at it all the time. So I kind of I know there's a line in the movie where I can't remember if it's in the book where Richie Tozer says, "Now I'm gonna have to kill this effing clown," and so I have that under my thing of Pennywise, and that was kind of like my mantra as I was, finishing up grad school. Like I started it, now I'm gonna have to finish it. I got to kill this effing clown. So I
Well,
see
it should.
Pennywise every day.
Yeah, as long as he's not first thing you see when you wake up, when you get out of bed. So if you
No.
put it in your room, and then so the sleep tight.
I'll be
Can't
like,
wake up in the
yes.
morning. Okay. I don't discount what Jen says about that scene. I honestly don't think about it when I think about the book. The rest of it is so great. It just overshadows that part for me. Yeah, no, I agree with you. Like I say, I need to reread the book before I can make a judgment, because it's one thing about reading a book when you're 14 years old and you don't notice it and you don't care. And my wife is 15 years old. And if I did it now, I'd probably be, what the hell was this guy on? How's it go?
Hey, Nicole.
Sorry, you're getting, well, close, not the end, but closer to the end. Okay, we got, hey, Nicole. King has a fake creepy house for his office for fans, but not the real office. Okay. I heard a rumor that he keeps something in his desk. The child's on his desk. Didn't you hear that? Some funny rumor.
He makes a joke about, I still have I'm still, or something like I still have a little boy's heart in a jar on my desk or something.
Yeah. In fact, there was a tag video where I actually said, if you were to ever meet the man, and I regret it because actually I wouldn't know what the hell I would say, but I decided to make a joke, and I said, do you really have that jar on your desk with the kids?
I
want to know.
I don't know like what I would say. I would be so starstruck.
Yeah, exactly.
I wrote a paper about you.
Yeah, exactly. Do you want to sign my paper?
Right. I'd just be starstruck completely.
Yeah, no, I would be as well. But I would love to know as much about, and this is not stalkery, it's just saying it. Obviously, you want to know as a fan about his private things and all that. But you're never going to like go up to him. I wouldn't do that, But I want to know on his
when
desk.
he still lived in Bangor, I mean, he was out and about all the time, and
Yeah.
nobody, I mean, they would just be like, "Hey, Steve, how are you today?"
No,
Like,
exactly. But just as a reader and as someone who
I
loves,
would be like, He did an interview recently. He actually did a couple of them, one just a few weeks ago and one last year on the Talking Scared podcast, which is hosted by Robert McCammon. He talked about Holly and a lot of other stuff last year. And then this year he talked about You Like It Darker and a lot of other stuff. So that's the Talking Scared podcast. So that's where you can find 2 recent interviews with King. And they're really good.
Yeah. And that is the Robert McCammon.
No, did I say Robert McCammon? Neil McRobert.
You said Robert
McCammon on the brain.
I was thinking, is that the real Robert McCammon you're talking about?
No, the Talking Scared podcast host is Neil McRobert. He's British. So, yeah.
Just wait, I've got something here from my wife. Oh, she's showing me my Pennywise shirt.
Love it.
Yeah, it's cool, eh?
So which movie version do you prefer, Cliff? Do you prefer Tim Curry or Bill Skarsgård?
Might be a surprise, but I'm old school. I like Tim Curry. I like that. I like that miniseries. I don't care what people say.
I do too.
It's got art and it's got a feel and it's got a way about it. And I didn't mind the movie. Quite enjoyed it. It's and it's still a very good Pennywise.
Yeah.
It's freaky as hell, scary as hell.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know, that other one's just got heart. It's got something about it. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, and the new movies, I liked it, Chapter 1, but I didn't like Chapter 2 as much. I didn't really like some of the storyline they did with the adults.
Yeah.
And I like Tim Curry's Pennywise too, and there are things I like about Bill Skarsgård's Pennywise, but they're very different. My daughter, one of my older daughters, she's actually afraid of clowns. Like I'm not, but she has a fear of clowns. And she said that Tim Curry is scarier because if you're already afraid of clowns, he's kind of playing into that reason why, because he looks kind of fun and sweet initially, and then he gets terrifying. But she said Bill Skarsgård's Pennywise is like terrifying from the get-go. So that was her perspective.
So it's I found that Bill Skarsgård, I don't even know if I'm saying his name right, but it's like that version of Pennywise is jump scares.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it relies on jump scares
Mm-hmm.
and creepy movements and freak. It's a different kind of thing. Tim Curry brought a different feel. He took a role on and he was just perfect for Pennywise.
Mm-hmm.
And so there wasn't all these special effects and everything.
Right.
Yeah, I really enjoyed Tim Curry's version.
I did too.
He put something different into it. A bit of heart, a bit of, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what do you got here? I don't know why I have to do this, but I'm just going to go like this. She doesn't always see. She doesn't always watch. For the last thing, I waited for half an hour. She finally did. And she had this sheepish look on her face, like, I know I've done wrong. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay. Yeah, hello. Have I got everything here? Am I skipping a few? No. Yeah. Thank you, Jane, for answering my question. I love listening to your conversations. Sorry. Have a great rest of your day. Cheers, my friend.
Bye.
I'm going to chat to you soon. Need to take care, everyone. Great live stream as always. Thanks, my friend. Get Out was an excellent movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It is.
I really, really, really enjoyed that. Oh, that's another thing you can fight with Michael about.
Yeah, I watched his rankings. His yeah. Is that the one where he had ice cream as the bottom? Was it that one?
I can't remember, but yeah, he did a whole ranking thing, and I was going, no.
First of all, he doesn't like ice cream, so.
Oh yes, I remember that. Yeah, it's just ice and whatever, and it's just You eat it for a bit, and then it just becomes this.
Yeah, was that Milky Way or something? He's so funny though. He's so funny.
No, I love him. I love him to bits. Okay. I closed the Amityville Horror House when I was a child, like 30 minutes.
Oh, that's
That's
cool.
awesome. Just you look at that house with the face and the cultural cobwebs. Hey,
Yes, that's what
did
it
we
is.
say that earlier?
Mhm.
Are you talking about the PCA conference? I
Yeah,
haven't go to tell me what you. Okay.
it's so much fun. It is.
Good. I cats trying to wake up and having coffee, so I'm slow today.
I feel that.
I've always got to remember that it is early in the morning for all of you,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Because
Yeah.
when we started, it was 11 in the morning here.
Okay. Okay.
That's the cool thing about BookTube too, is connecting not just to different people, here in the United States, but people from all over the world. I love that about this community too, that
Exactly.
we can connect from across the globe.
Yeah. And it's now 7:30 in the evening here.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, lovely evening. Very cold. It's winter. So I'm
I
wearing
know.
quite a.
I'm jealous of that because it's terrible here. The summer is awful, awful here.
No, it can get very bad here as well. It's kind of subtropical where we are.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, the humidity just gets. Oh, I've been to Florida when I was a kid, so I know. I think we were
Yeah,
there in
the
summer as
humidity
well.
is rough. Yeah.
It's terrible. Yeah. Okay. Let's go. Ironically, my husband just bought me a Pennywise T-shirt.
Yay.
Yay! I love all three of Jordan Red Peele's movies. He does horror well. Jordan Peele.
He did Get Out.
Oh, he did Get Out. Yeah.
The other two are Us and Nope. I liked Us, but I didn't like Nope as much as the other two.
I've only seen Get Out. My wife said Us was disappointing, but I haven't seen it
To
yet.
me, Get Out's the best of the three.
Yeah. I have to head out. Love this chat. I'm so glad you're on the channel. Thanks for the double. Yo, yo, go. 1, 2, 3. Yo, yo, yo.
Only for you, Alicia. We love you.
Only for you, Alicia. No one else. Cammy on the brain.
I do. Yeah.
Always and forever. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. And another vote. Yeah. Tim Curry.
Tim Curry takes the trophy, I think.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And look, I don't know how you all feel about the movie Rocky Horror Picture Show, but he was brilliant in that.
Yes.
Funny.
Love it.
It's funny as well. Okay. I love the Tim Curry miniseries too.
I do too. Have DVD. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Team Tim Curry all day, every single day. Yeah. It's Pennywise.
Yeah, there's another. Yeah, shout out to Rocky Horror Picture Show. Uh-huh.
Yeah, yeah. Come up to the lab and see what's in the slab. Sorry, that was funny. And then I'm waiting in anticipation.
You could come. I know who you can be for the dress up with Bad as Rad. You're Frankenberg all the way. All the way.
No, that's not going to happen.
Come on.
Yeah, it's my favorite. It is a lot of fun. I don't know, let me picture. I've got something going here. I'll remove the symptom, but not the cause. Okay, now we're just going to get. Now we're going to get. That's always great, man. Couple hanging out. Yeah, they're all hanging out now, like 10 times. We both love it. We love the music. Yeah, it's something way more fun. or Tim Curry. Okay, then we'll make a date. Yeah. Yes. There was one other question I actually wanted to ask you while they start sprouting Tim Curry quotes at each other. I wanted to ask you good, big, and small novels. I've brought this up on my channel before. I'm talking about what is the preferred kind of length of a novel for you? A really long, big novel or a very short novel? And not so much because of its world building or everything, but in terms of your life, in terms of your commitments, in terms of, kind of when you have time to read. Does it make a difference in terms of what size of novel you're going to read?
It does. And that was a hard question too on the impossible would you rather book tag. There was the question about, do you prefer, or would you rather only have to read 700 or more page novels, or 300 or less? And for that particular thing, because I know I'm like, I'm not nailed down to have to stick with this, but I said, 300 or less. But a lot of that does depend on what's going on in life. When I was in grad school, I really didn't have enough time to invest in the longer novels that I wanted to read because I had so many things I had to read. So shorter books worked really well for me then. And like right now in the summer, where my daughter is home from school, I only have the one child that lives at home. But if you watch my channel, you know that she's disabled and has some other disabilities, things going on. So when she's home for the summer, I kind of have to tend more to shorter books. And I like to invest time in longer books whenever, my daughter's in school or I don't have a lot of outside commitments, because there is something very special about sitting down with a big, thick book and really getting invested in it. So a lot of times it depends on what's going on, in my life. And then sometimes if I'm having difficulties with my mental health, shorter books work for me then too. But on the flip side, sometimes if I need to feel like I can escape, sometimes a longer book, if I'm really invested in it, can help then too.
Yeah, it makes sense because when I was studying as well, because I graduated English major as well, and you don't have time to read big books.
No.
I was really busy reading Bleak House by Charles Dickens, and those are your big books, the books you study. So yeah, you just don't have time. I mean, the only time I ever got was when I was on holiday, and then, like you say, then you got time. You can sit down with a nice big chunky book and get lost in the story. And you literally get, you don't really want to do anything else. But yeah, so it makes a huge difference. And if you're not enjoying a story, you also get not reader's block.
Yep, getting that slump.
Yeah, reader's slump. Yeah, and sometimes it'll happen if you've got time or not. If you're not enjoying a story, it can put you in a big slump. And the best thing to do then is to pick up shorter books, short stories, whatever. Yeah. Okay, let's see what people are saying. Have you ever written a book?
I have. It's not in print anymore because I went with a smaller publishing company and they kind of went defunct or whatever you call it. But it was published, I think it was 2018. And it is called Mountains and Melancholy, a collection of poetry about life with depression.
Okay.
I don't know if there may be like used copies or something on Amazon, but that's the only book that I've had written and published so far. I have some thoughts in the works.
It won't be on Kindle. It won't be on Kindle.
It was when it was, so it may still be available on Kindle. I haven't checked. It's probably bad to say I haven't checked in a long time.
Just check
for
with
different reasons, because I'm a different, like I said, that was 2018. And that was after a recent, like I won't go into a lot of detail here, but like a major crisis that happened with my depression. So I'm kind of in a different place now, than I was 6, 7 years ago. But it's possibly still out there. But if you read it, know that I'm in a better place now. Is all I can say.
No, that's great. And it's just awesome that you got a book published. I'm going to have a look. I want to ask my executive assistant. Yeah, can you please write that down. Okay, let's have a look here. Great question. Thanks, Nicole. Oh, she says, I like short and medium books, but I will read thick books because I grew up reading big books. Yeah. All right, shorter books nowadays too. It's funny reading and writing. I prefer 300 pages or less.
I have
Sometimes
one
just
of Nicole's books on my Kindle right now that I hope to get to soon.
yeah. There's the first one of I need to actually read the second one. There's so many books to read and to read outside of horror. It's more like a dark fantasy, but I do want to read the second one day. Okay. I have big books, but since being a booktube, I shy away from them. I miss them. I've been reading some bigger books this summer for Big Book Summer. Yeah, I haven't been taking part in Big Book Summer, but it's only my second year on books. So maybe next year I'll start learning about these readathons and events and start knowing how to.
There's a lot. There's a lot.
Yeah, sometimes it's too much. Sometimes it's too much. Okay. If you want help with self-publishing, reach out.
Thank you. I will, because I've got a few things in mind that I would be interested in working on. So, maybe again one day. more kind of probably focused on the academic side of things, but there's not any money in that for the most part. I'll tell you that right now. So yeah.
I would love to read your book, especially if it's about depression. I think it will make for excellent reading. Yeah, you suffer as well. Nicole's Bookish Nook. Wow, yours on my list too. I've got it in my Kindle, baby. You can read a book. Cozy urban fantasy. Yeah. For those, I need a hug. Yeah. I really enjoyed it. It was a fun read. And actually, that's the sort of thing that is a nice palate cleanser between all the horror. In need. Yeah. Okay, Cliff and I need to tackle the big book, The Fisherman. Oh, The Fireman. Yes, Joe Hill. Yeah. I've been putting it off. Because it's here somewhere. Wait, it's here somewhere. It's just too damn long.
That is a big one. I have Nosferatu that I may get to like this winter, but I got some other books I want to read this winter. I read Heart-Shaped Box, and I loved that one. Yeah. And I read Horns, and I didn't like Horns that much. It started off pretty strong, but then to me it just kind of went down. But I loved Heart-Shaped Box, and it had a couple of parts that creeped me out a little, which is pretty much impossible to do. There's only a few books that have ever been able to give me any little bit of creep factor, and that's one of them.
Yeah, no, I love Nosferatu, and I loved Heart-Shaped Box. I agree with you on Horns. I think it was a 3-star because it started off well, and it got like, yeah. Okay, here we go. I have to take a break from horror. Yeah, I need to take more breaks from horror because I'm finding that sometimes you read like 8 to 10 books of just horror, extreme horror. You struggle a bit. You need to take a bit of have some light-hearted stuff there. So I went back to historical fiction. We'll hold each other accountable at some point. Yeah, we'll do it, Kat. We'll do it. Yeah. Okay. Jen, what do you think of Vic McQueen? Have you read Nosferatu?
I haven't read it yet, but
that will be right up your alley.
Yeah, it's like right over here in my little, I have like a vampire area, so I have it over there because of one of the characters, in the name Nosferatu. But I haven't read that one yet. I know one of the things I plan to read this winter is The Terror by Dan Simmons, because I haven't read that yet. So I want to read that one. And one by Ali Wilkes called All the White Spaces, which also takes place in the Arctic, kind of inspired, I think, a little bit by The Terror. So they're both pretty thick. So if I can get to all of it, then maybe I can, tackle Nosferatu.
Yeah. Okay. We're shooting through some of the last comments now. I've just got to say it's been wonderful having you on the show.
Thank you. It's been great.
Pretty well coming to 2 hours here. That was awesome. Okay, so let's just deal with some of the last things here. Vic McQueen is amazing. Yeah, I remember I said earlier, because you like strong female characters.
Mm-hmm.
And I've actually mentioned her on a couple of my videos. She is a very strong character. She's very flawed. And that has to do with her upbringing. But she's a wonderful character. I think you'll love her. Yeah.
Y'all are convincing.
Sorry? Yeah. Historically, so I'm going to really going back to my roots.
Yes.
Yeah.
It feels good sometimes. It's kind of a comfort to go back to the stuff that, reminds you of earlier days.
Yeah. Thank you. I would love to hear your thoughts on Vic, Jane. I think you'll love her. Yeah, it's my wife's favorite character, I think. And it's one of mine. One of my top female characters. I did a video, my favorite female kick-ass characters.
Yes.
Vic McQueen is a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. Yes.
Y'all are making me just want to pick it up as soon as I get finished with what I'm reading right now. Forget about waiting on winter.
You'll like it more than Stephen King, I think. It's if I was to rate it alongside Stephen King, it would be in the top 10 easily. And that's 60 books talking about.
Yeah.
A 5-star. Yeah. Absolutely 5-star for me. Okay, everyone. Sorry, it's now approaching 8 o'clock. And I've got a funny thing that I do. I haven't told you this, Jen. What I actually do is that once I've actually finished the video, I go and rewatch the whole video and take notes of the things that you say and take notes of things. Why not?
Oh, no.
But you were absolutely wonderful guest.
Thank you. You're a great host, Cliff. You made me feel very at ease, and I always get a little anxious before I go on camera, especially live, but you made it very comfortable and relaxing.
Thank you. And to be honest, I also get anxious there. Even if I think we always do when we have to go and put ourselves out there on the camera, live. There's no retakes. There's no, okay, no, wait, we need to edit that. Right. Nothing like it. You just have to go. But you were an absolute pleasure. Got a wonderful channel. And people, if you have not subscribed, please check out his channel. Okay. But yeah, take care. And we're going to stay together for a little while and have a chat. Okay. But I'm going to say to everyone, hang on. Yeah, I'm going to say to everyone in 5, 4, 3. Goodbye.
Bye.
Okay, it takes a little bit longer than actually takes a while to get off. Okay, bye-bye.